Guest here at WVOF 88.5 FM in Fairfield, Connecticut. And the Upper Room with Joe Kelley is one of the most respected musicians and bassists in music today. He's getting a little break from his constant touring with Maceo Parker and other musicians. And we talk with him right now. It's an honor to have on the show Rodney Skeet Curtis. How you doing, Skeet?
Hanging in there like a champ.
Yeah, and
break, as you say.
Yeah, and as we talk, your Baltimore Ravens are back on track, doing well, up 9-0, right?
Yep. Raiders have the ball, incomplete pass. Okay, good.
Now, I wanted to ask you, because I know you do so many touring dates with Maceo. How's it like getting back to just chilling and watching football and, probably working on your own music? How easy is that to switch into that mode?
It's not easy, actually. I have to get out of the roadhead, which takes a few days, if not a week. So I probably need a week before I can do anything constructive at home. And I've been off about 6 weeks this time, so this has been a pretty good break for me.
And do you go back? You go back on the road pretty soon. Do you guys get a lot of rehearsal time? Or you're such accomplished guys. You just go right.
Zero rehearsal.
What's that?
Almost zero. Pretty close to none.
Okay.
Yeah, like the first gig back, we may have a long sound check or something. Mm-hmm. But other than that, there's no rehearsal.
And we had Kenwood Denard on years ago, and he talked about those Maceo Parker sound checks back in the day. They're pretty tough, right?
Yeah, they can get kind of crazy, actually.
Right.
Yeah, we're off to Seoul, Korea on Thursday, as a matter of fact. Thursday, that would be the 21st. So,
is that the first time you've ever played in Korea?
Yeah, the first for me. I asked Greg Boyer the other day if he went with French. He said he'd never been either, so it was the first trip for all of us, except the SOS contingent.
Right. Bruno and
Jamal. I think Ron Cooley may have gone before also.
Just make sure you can sleep on the plane, because I never could. I used to live in Taiwan for a bit, so it's tough.
Oh, no, I can't sleep on planes.
Right. So we
to be almost exhausted.
Uh-huh.
So we'll see what we see, right?
So we kicked off just a few minutes ago with a track from Schools In, Maceo's latest CD, To Be or Not to Be. Getting into time for you guys to get in the studio for the song. How did actually this song come about, To Be or Not to Be?
Actually, was that at the end of a tour or at the beginning? I'm pretty sure it was at the end of a tour. We usually record in Bonn, Germany. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the tour, everybody's got their tour chops up, so we can pretty much wing it in the studio. And we stay there about a week, record the record, and that one came about. That is actually a groove. I'm trying to think of it. One of the live grooves we did turned into that song. I can't remember which one off the top of my head because we do so many. Mm-hmm. And it's so many off the cuff. We play as Bruno puts it, we play the gray area well. The gray area in music. Some things are scripted, then you got a little leeway to do some things, and we kind of work the gray area pretty well.
Right. Well, it's a great album, and Maceo.com is where you can find out all about it. Also, all the online services and all the tour dates up there. Skeet Curtis is our special guest. You still live out in the Baltimore area, right?
Yep, born and raised. I'll be here forever. Dennis and I talk about that all the time.
That's right. Dennis Chambers, your good friend. Did you guys grow up around the same time?
Yeah. We played in bands around Baltimore together. Mm-hmm. We were little kids coming up together.
Now, what was the music scene back then when you started learning how to play an instrument? Was it bass the first one?
Yeah, in fact, Baltimore was really alive with funk music. Mm-hmm. And bands it was either that or gangs. It was the alternative to gangs.
Wow, yeah.
So, us musical types kind of, gravitated toward that, of course. And it was big fun. I mean, you could play 7 days a week in 1,000 different places around here. It was a great time for live music, and I'm really glad I came up in that era.
Do you ever see it going back that way, or you think those are the years that just you got to cherish that you were there?
Well, you definitely have to cherish them. It may be a little bit. There are a few bands around town now, and I go check them out whenever I can, but pretty much those days are gone.
Mm-hmm. So you grew up...
and turntables and MTV killed those days.
Yeah, right. And I think a lot of the audiences, they're not expecting a great live show, the young kids today. But when they see it...
They look for what they see in a video now.
Right.
You know, it's good for live music if you're at a certain level. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's bad otherwise. It's hard for a musician coming up now. You know, Corey Parker and I were talking. You know, they don't even have music class in schools anymore.
Wow.
Or if they do, it's few and far between where you find it.
Now you also, Corey Parker's a good friend of ours. You played on his records too, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the unreleased one, I don't know what he's calling it, but Bruno and I went down maybe a few months ago and recorded some tracks for his upcoming release.
Our special guest right now is Rodney Skeet Curtis, bassist extraordinaire. We're going to be spinning some more tracks from Maceo and talk about Rodney's own music. A lot of people know you from the P-Funk days and touring with George and everything, and we're going to get into a song in just a few moments, but what was your first introduction into the world of George Clinton?
You mean on a professional level or just period, my first introduction?
I guess we'll talk about both. How about, first when you met him?
Well, I can't remember the first record I heard. It had to be America Eats Its Young Days. Mm-hmm. Like maybe Loose Booty or something. Loose Booty, or if you don't like the effect, don't produce the cars.
Okay.
That was good music to me as a young kid. There wasn't much of that around, especially from a black group. And okay, fast forward. I'm playing around town, da-da-da-da-da. One of my really good friends, even to this day, Gary Cooper.
Oh, okay, yeah, Mudbone, yeah.
Was with Bootsy. So they're out touring. Bone called me up to do some sessions, which for what turned out to be the Brides of Funkenstein and Parliament.
Okay.
While P-Funk was on tour, George and Bernie and Gary went to Detroit to record. I came up to record to do these sessions, and Tyrone Lampkin was the drummer. And George liked the way I played, invited me to come on the road, and, the rest is history, as they say.
And do you ever reflect back? I mean, we've had Bernie in the studio and asked him kind of the same question that, it's such a magical moment of what the P-Funk organization has done over the years music-wise. Reflect back, do you know I guess the importance of what you guys have accomplished through music history?
I do now. Back then it was just some fun. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But when you look back on it, in fact, I went to see P-Funk was here a couple days ago.
Yeah, we saw him about a week ago, yeah.
And me, Dennis Chambers, Greg Boyer went to the show, and we ended up sitting in on Mothership Connection.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And Greg Boyer pointed out, this is the first time the five of us had played together since sometime in the 80s, I think it was.
Wow.
Like 86 or something. I played with Dennis. Of course, I played with Greg Boyer all the time. Mm-hmm. But I hadn't played with Benny and Greg Thomas in all that time, along with Dennis and Greg. And it was that, things like that is what brings all the history of it to the fore. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I know as a listener and a fan of all that music, driving in my car a couple weeks ago, they had like about a 30-minute Drive at 5 set of the P-Funk Parliament and everything, and the goosebumps, I could see them on my arm for the whole ride. So, you guys accomplished the mission, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, it's it's great history.
Yeah. So we're going to get into a song which you have a co-writing credit on, Groove Allegiance. And,
Yeah,
we'll come back
one of
and,
my favorites. Yeah,
yeah, it's
I wish
great.
they mixed the bass better though.
Okay, right, right. Hey, that's right. You got, you're playing such a great part. They got to put it up there, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Should have been the loudest thing.
Yeah, right. So keeping the bottom end of things, we've got Skeet Curtis with us. We're going to play Groove Allegiance right now, and we'll come back and speak more with Rodney Skeet Curtis. And this musician that we're talking to, a great guy. It's an honor to have him on the show, and a lot of our listeners have wanted to have him on the show for years. Rodney Skeet Curtis, one of the top bassists around, and we just heard Groove Allegiance, on which you co-wrote and I'm sure performed many years with George and everybody in that crew. As a bassist, what are you bringing on stage equipment wise on your tours with Maceo?
Well, I'm playing a Lakeland 5594 5-string custom.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great bass. It's very light. I play long sets, as you know.
Oh yeah, I've been in Montreal Jazz Fest a few years ago.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's kind of a hybrid. It has the qualities of a jazz bass and a Music Man, Stingray.
Okay.
Really good bass, and I'm playing a variety of Mesa Boogie amps. Because I can't get, we don't carry our own backline, so I get them to rent, whatever Mesa Boogie they have. And usually it's an M2000. I really like that amp. So if I don't think they make those anymore, but if they have them available, I like those.
Are you a tech? Yeah.
No pedals, straight up bass.
Uh-huh. Are you the kind of musician who's always keeping up on the latest technology things for your instrument?
No.
No? Uh-huh.
No, if I have it and it works, it's fine. I don't need to add anything to it or take anything off of it.
Uh-huh. How about your admiration for other bassists? Do you have some from yesteryear and some of the younger cats today?
Well, of course, everything starts with Jameson, in my opinion.
Uh-huh.
Everything. And, the Larry Grahams, the Stanley Clarks, the Jackos, and, the list goes on. I really like Victor Wooten, Marcus Miller these days.
And I think you're going to be on a bill with Victor Wooten coming up, right?
We always cross paths somewhere.
Uh-huh, right.
But, we did a few things with Marcus over in Europe. He's got a great band. And Victor, well, he's Victor.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Great guy. He's been on our show several times. Yeah.
Really great guy.
Now, as a bassist, your relationship with different drummers over the years, how obviously it's important, but changing up with different drummers, is that difficult to get accustomed to?
It's not difficult. It's uncomfortable sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I played with Dennis a 1,000 years, it seemed like, and we had almost like an insect antenna communication thing going.
Okay.
We didn't have to look at each other. We knew what each other was going to do. I got a little comfortable with that, and that's almost impossible to find. You got to play with somebody 20 years to get that. But I found now, I play so much in the pocket now that I could almost play with any drummer now. Mm-hmm. Because I'm not as tricky as I used to be. I am as tricky. I just don't play it. It's not necessary with Maceo. I leave a lot of the curly cues out that I used to play.
Who, by the way, is playing keys in the band now?
We got Will Bullware back.
Okay, he's back. Yeah, Morris has been working with Prince, right?
Yeah, I talked to him the other day, as a matter of fact.
Okay, cool. So Maceo's. Oh, go ahead.
I said Will's back and sounding better than ever to me.
Yeah.
But I've been in touch with him this whole time. We talked. I talked to him yesterday, as a matter of fact. We talk all the time. Always have.
And of course, Greg Boyer running that horn. Is Greg still going to do the tour?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And we should get.
Pick up my visa for Korea. As a matter of fact, I have to get it from him tomorrow.
Oh, you guys live in the same area, right?
Yeah, yeah, he lives between Baltimore and Washington.
Right.
I, of course, live outside of Baltimore. Dennis lives 20 minutes from me. And
So,
Benny lives, like 10 minutes the other way from me. But we all kind of still live in the same area.
so is Greg still riding those bikes?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think he'll be doing that when he's 80.
Right, right. Now, Maceo's got a new album, School Is In. You guys are teaching people about the funk, and this album, you using a lot of the songs in the current set list from the new album?
I think we played 4 or 5 of them. So this would be, since I've been with Maceo, we played more off the record this time with School's End than the whole 8 years I've been with him, any other record.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, we should get into an.
It's a pretty hot record.
Oh yeah, it's nice, and they're playing not just on like funk stations, R&B. They're playing on jazz stations as well. So you're getting covered over here on the East Coast.
Yeah. In fact, Benny Collin mentioned that. He said he had heard it on one of the jazz stations around here.
Right, right. Yeah, I heard it on like a morning smooth jazz station, which is cool. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, we'll get into a track right now off the record. It's called Advanced Funk, and I guess maybe give a little synopsis of how you see funk music today with in a modern day edge to it.
Well, mainly today, funk is gospel players are pretty much playing funk now.
Okay. Yeah.
That's kind of where it's headed, and the hip hoppers are playing it as well, of course. But I see more funk in church. I don't know if I should put it that way, but it seems like like I said, the gospel players are playing more funky these days. Mm-hmm. And you got a few of the holdouts like me.
Right.
and and us, and I think the Gap still plays, and all the funk bands from the '70s are playing.
Yeah, I heard Slave is rehearsing to get back on the road again.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, I saw her.
Adams was one of my favorite bass players.
Right. I saw her some tour rehearsal video, which is cool. Yep.
Yeah, when you heard Slave, you knew it was Mark Adams.
Right.
Very distinctive. This is me. Here I come.
Yeah, some amazing music you guys created, and Skeet Curtis is with us right now here on the Upper Room with Joe Kelley. We'll get into Maceo's Advanced Funk and come back and speak one more time with Skeet Curtis. Not a little while, but you can get it right now. School Is In, Maceo.com, and that's called Advanced Funk. And our special guest right now, great talented bassist, Rodney Skeet Curtis. He's joining with us on a little break from before he gets back out on the road. Check him out in Korea. So that's going to be a great experience for you. I'm sure. Now let me ask you something, because I know I saw some cool picture on your website. By the way, we should mention you can get in contact with Skeet Curtis, myspace.com, Rodney Skeet Curtis. You got a great site up there. Mm-hmm. There's a picture of your home studio right there, which I'm sure you work on a lot of music. Tell us about some upcoming plans for your own album.
Well, actually, that thing's completely different now. I've moved over to Pro Tools, of course.
Okay, yeah.
So, and not only that, I switched over to Mac. So I got a little bit of a learning curve to absorb. So, but yeah, I'm working on music all the time. Uh-huh. But I'm on tour so much. I get home, I don't want to play music anymore.
Right. You want to watch some football games?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I want to sit in the easy chair with my feet up and watch football.
Right.
I get back to business every now and then.
Yeah.
But I'm working on songs all the time. I'm going to work on some stuff with Morris Hayes.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, and Will Bulwer as well. Bruno and I are going to do some stuff. Greg Boyer's got a project I'm working on. And, just try to keep it rolling.
Yeah.
I was talking to George about doing some stuff.
Who was that? Oh, George.
Clem.
Oh, okay, right.
But once they come off tour and I'm off tour, we'll work it out however we have to. Mm-hmm. I might, write a few tunes for whatever their next upcoming project is. So.
Now I was reading something, I guess a little while back, he gave an interview about you're one of the few people that George gave a lot of space on stage to kind of do some improvisation when you were touring with him. Tell us about that situation.
Yeah, I had almost free reign. Uh-huh. So that's when I was talking about the curly cues that I don't play with Maceo.
Right, right.
Played them with P-Funk.
Uh-huh.
You know, I pretty much could play whatever I wanted, when I wanted, you know, which is good and bad.
Right.
George said,
Uh-huh.
and we did a bass player magazine thing with all the bass players of P-Funk. And he said sometimes it would get too artsy.
Right.
But it was great fun. You know, I don't mind playing. You know, I like sticking to the script when there is a script. When there isn't, you know, you got to play the gray area. To quote Bruno Spate.
Now, Maceo, it seems, you know, from a person out in the audience that you guys are just like professional, classy, fine-tuned musicians. Go right there. And when you're touring with P-Funk, there's so much going on stage, you know, size-wise. Is it a big difference for you as a musician?
It's not a big difference when it comes down to the music. The music is the music wherever you play it.
Uh-huh.
But it's more comfortable with Mace because, you know, it's less people, like you say. And you pretty much know what it's going to be minute to minute.
Okay, yeah.
Now, we morph through a lot of stuff with Mace, but it's going to be this song is here and this song is there. Skeet is playing on this song and Skeet is playing on the last song.
Right.
With P-Funk in the in and out, while I enjoyed not playing sometimes, it got a bit hectic backstage sometimes.
Right. I can imagine touring, too, with that many people can be hectic as well.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
But as much as it's crazy, it was great fun, too.
Uh-huh.
You know, because we were really close-knit. You know, that's, in fact, one of the things Dennis said he missed about P-Funk was the, you know, the kind of family atmosphere of it, as opposed to when he started first working the jazz gigs, it wasn't quite as close. So, you know, I missed that about P-Funk. No, we're really close in Maceo, too. Mm-hmm. But it's like 10% of the number of people.
Right, yeah, exactly, right. How about drums in Maceo's? Who's playing drums right now?
Jamal Thomas.
Okay.
Played 1,000 years with SOS Band.
Right, yeah. He's been with you for a while, right?
Yeah, he's been there the whole time I've been. I think he might have been there a few years before me, even.
And now,
playing within the last 8 years with Maceo. Hard to believe it's been that long.
Yeah. Hey, correct me if I'm wrong, but this record or the previous Maceo record, there was some work done here in Connecticut, right?
Yeah, they did the horns there.
Okay, right.
I know they did the horns and maybe some background vocals.
Okay, gotcha, yeah.
Yeah, in fact, I started to drive up for some of the horn sessions, but the weather was kind of ugly.
Right.
I think they did it in January or something that year.
Now,
I'll sit home and watch football. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, you know, I know you're touring, you know, getting back on tour, and you guys, you know, that's what you guys love to do, and you're traveling all around the world. How about your listening habits when you're not listening to the stuff you have on stage or in the studio? What do you get into?
I listen to everything, any and everything.
Okay.
And I have almost no favorite things. I put my iPod, I've got everything from big band to salsa to funk to hip hop, you name it, it's on there.
Uh-huh.
Put it on shuffle, whatever plays I listen to.
Oh, that's cool, yeah. So you have an open mind, obviously, about music.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Music is music. I mean, and not only that, I know what it takes to try to earn a living in this business. So, I try to support other musicians when I can. I don't download any music or any of that. Mm-hmm. I buy everything. And, it's just music. I love it. It's my life, and it's been my life for all these years.
That's what...
All kinds. So, what can I say? That's,
well, you
pretty much says it.
Yeah, you've given us so many thrills on record and also live, and I know we want to hear your own music because I know you got a lot to give to us. So hopefully, when it's out, you can come by the studio. We have people coming to play all the time, so that would be cool.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic, in fact.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe I could get Bernie, talk him into coming or something. He's relatively close to you.
Who's that?
Bernie Worrell.
Oh, yeah, Bernie. Yeah, he's only about 2 hours away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really cool guy. Yep. Yep. So,
Yeah, that'd be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
so we should, thank you first and foremost for stopping by and wish you a nice tour out in Korea and back here, kicking back at the Rams Head. And then, yeah, you got a bunch of dates coming up, Maceo.com, right?
Yeah, they're not all on there yet either.
Yeah.
We got a swing through South America coming up, and I think some West Coast dates, and Maceo's the new hardest working man in show business.
Yeah, he's still going strong. I mean, he, obviously loves it. How's he doing health wise? He's holding up pretty good.
Oh, he's fantastic.
Yeah, that's great.
He looks like a 30-year-old.
Right.
He makes me tired just looking at him.
Hey, Skeet, we're gonna get into a couple songs right now. Who says a funk band can't play rock and roll?
Oh yeah.
I mean, this is just
A bit about that song.
yeah. Drop it on us.
Mike Hampton, for all the guitar work, mainly the solo stuff, he had maybe four or five Ampeg SVT amps and maybe about 6 or 7 cabinets all over the studio, clanked so loud you wouldn't believe it.
Uh-huh.
It was just him in there, and you can see the windows, the glass for the control room shake. He was playing so loud.
Wow.
So that's why that sound is like that.
Yeah, it's a great record off of, in record stores, these records sell the highest on the resale. I noticed because I love going to
every last one of those vinyls.
Oh.
Every record P-Funk ever made, all offshoots, everything. I have all the vinyls for those.
So don't give out your home address.
No.
Right.
I got a big dog anyway.
Okay, cool. Yeah. What kind of dog?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay. But we got you.
He's virtual.
Yeah.
But I've got an alarm system, though.
That's cool, yeah. Then we'll get into something, Hats Off to Harry, another great song from a couple albums back. Yeah.
That's my favorite Maceo tune ever.
Oh, really? Hats Off to Harry, yeah. Who actually is Harry?
I don't know who Harry is. Noah Maceo could be somebody he bumped into in the street.
Right. It sounded legit in the intro to the song.
Yeah. He's a people guy if ever there was one.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Knowing him, it could be anybody or a combination of people.
So, hey, thanks, Skeet, and we'll be talking to you soon, and stay well and have fun on the road.
Thank you very much.
All right, Rodney Skeet Curtis.
Everybody, take it easy. Nice talking to you.
All right, thanks, Skeet.